We're going to talk about a statement or statements, truth value, negation, compound statement, conjunction, disjunction, and a truth table. First of all, statement is just that. It's a sentence. Sentence that is true or false. What do you think the truth value is? Whether the statement is what? True or false. That's its truth value. Okay. Negation, what do you think that means?
It's false.
Not really. But I see why you think that. I would kind of jump to that. Negation is actually. Well, think of it like this. Negation kind of sounds like negative, doesn't it? What is the negative of 5? Negative 5, right? What do we call negative 5 compared to 5? They are what to each other? Opposites. Negation is just basically that, the opposite of a statement. If a lot of times you'll put the word what? Not. Now here's the thing, there's a sign that is used here, and I want you to put this right here, like that. That means negation. Okay? Compound statement. What do you think that is? You what? Combine two statements. That makes sense, doesn't it? All of this is kind of making sense to things you already know, just giving them a name in geometry. Agreed? I mean, you kind of can look at it. Conjunction and disjunction. That's something that probably you haven't seen much. Conjunction is simply this. And. You're saying both, and conjunction and disjunction are types of what, do you think? Compound statements. You're saying both happen. And there's a symbol for this too. It's that. Disjunction, there's a symbol for it too. It's upside down. Do you know what disjunction means? Very good. Or. Here you're saying what? One or what? The other happens. Truth table is a table giving all the possible truth values. There's more to that than that definition makes it sound. You don't have to put these little squigglies here. I just want to make sure. If you've noticed, I like to separate things. If you notice on your answer sheet, I separated when you went to a different page. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I do that because I don't want you to accidentally get mixed up. All right, now let's get our handy dandy grid books out. Okay. What you will do, and what we'll do, is we will use a lowercase letter, print letter, to represent a statement. This is so I can say, I can give a key like this, and then say, hey, I want you to write P and Q. Make sense? That way you can say all these different statements without having to write this. Does that make sense? And look, instead of writing the word and, what do they write here? The symbol for conjunction, right? They write or here, but what do they mean? The exact same thing here, right? That means or too. What do you think that squiggly means? The negation of P, or of Q, I'm sorry. And that means the negation of R. So, guys, when you say write the problem, you would write 1, P, and Q, and then underneath or to the side, you would then write your answer. So they want us to write P and Q. This is as simple as it looks. So I would write -3 minus what? 2 is equal to what? And then write the word what? And now I'm going to write Q. Vertical angles are what? You're welcome to use those symbols. You're done. Now, if you'll look at the definition of a what? Conjunction. What am I saying? You're saying what? Both happen, or I could say both are what? So for a conjunction to be true, both what? both parts have to be true. You're saying, but with or you're saying one or the other. I guess or both happen. But for a disjunction to be true, only one of the two has to be true. So this is where truth value can get somewhat confusing here. You have to break it down like this. This is, the key word here is and. For you to get the truth value of this whole statement, you have to look at each piece. Is -3 minus 2 equal to -5? Is that a true statement? So that's true. Vertical angles are congruent. Is that true? Huh? No wonder we had problems with chapter 1. Vertical angles, are they congruent? Yes, all vertical angles are congruent. So the P and the Q are true, so our truth value, what is this? Truth value of the whole statement is true. When you have the word and, both statements have to be true. Let's write this one down. P, which would be what? -3 minus 2 is equal to what? -5. What does that symbol mean? And what is R? 2 plus 8 is greater than 10. Okay. We've written it down. We have the word and. To figure out its truth value, I have to look at each smaller piece. Is the first part, is P true? Huh? Yes, it is. This part is true. Is 2, how about R? 2 plus 8, is it greater than 10? So this part is. Now, it's and. So what does that mean? For the statement to be true, what? So the answer is false. Let's look at P or S. How would I write it? P is what? -3 minus 2 is equal to -5. Key word here, or, and I'm just underlining it twice to, you don't have to do that on your assignment. I'm doing that to make reference that that's important. And, or the sum of the measures of complementary angles is 90 degrees. Okay, and what is our truth value here? Well, first part, is it true? Guess what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about this one, but you don't have to even go to the next one. Right now, you know that this statement is. Why? On or, one or the other has to happen. One happened to be true, didn't it? So I can say that statement's true, right? One of those two things happened. Take out the trash or clean the kitchen. If you took out the trash, do you have to clean the kitchen? No. You did what you were supposed to do. Okay, RS. So I've got 2 plus 8 is greater than 10, or the sum of the measures of complementary angles is, I'm going to put 90 degrees just to remind you it's the same thing as up above, okay? Well, what is our truth value here? What is our truth value here? Is it true that the sum of the measures of complementary angles is 90? So what about this statement? Is this statement true? It actually is. Part of the statement is false, but enough of it is true. All right, let's look at this one. P and not Q. So, P is -3 minus 2 is equal to -5. And, right, not Q. What would the negation of that be? The opposite of saying vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles what? Are not congruent. So this part is what? Is this part true? That's false. So what is the truth value? It's an and, so both have to be true. You guys get that? We okay? Truth tables. For some reason people have problems with these, but they're not hard. They're black and white. Okay? But you have to do them piece by piece. And this is what kind of gets people sometimes. Right here. You have basically, you have P and Q and you have all the possible combinations. You've got two statements here, right? Let's say if the first one was true and the second one true. Another possibility, the first one being true and the second one being what? Third possibility, first one's false and the second one's what? Last possibility, they're both what? That is all the possibilities. Now, why do you think not P is going to relate to P? It's the opposite. What's the opposite of true? So if P is true, what's its negation got to be? Here, P is true, so what's the negation got to be? Here, P is false, what's the negation got to be? Here, P is false, what's the negation got to be? One piece at a time. Now, when you have negation, you've always got to write the non-negation here. Okay? So, now I'm dealing with what? Not P and Q. So do I even need to worry about this one over here? No. That's an and, isn't it? So for this to be true, what do both of these have to be? True. So, true, false. What would this be? Right. False, false. False. True, true. False, true. That's simple. Now, what is this other than a complicated looking thing? Is it not just the negation of this? So the opposite of this over here, right? What's the opposite of being false? What's the opposite of being false? What's the opposite of being true? What's the opposite of being false? There you go. If you do it piece by piece, you'll be okay on these. Now, this is where people tend to sometimes have problems. We'll skip ahead to number 9, where they ask you to construct your own truth table. You've got to always start, even when you have a negation, you've got to start with what? The non-negation. You've got to start with you've got to start with Q and R. So you've got to have Q, then you've got to have R, and then I need to have what? Not Q. After I've established all of those, then I can figure out what not Q and R is. So those are your... Do you see how to do not Q, you have to first have Q in there? So, just write your possibilities. You could have Q true and R would also be what? And your true. What would be the next one? How about Q true and R what? Then how about true and then what? False, false. Okay, what does this deal with?
Q.
So what's not Q?
False.
This be?
False. True.
So now, just have to deal with these two here, right? True, false would be false, because this is an and, right? False, false would be true, true would be false, true would be
False.
that's simple. Guys, I'll zoom out and let you write this down. Everybody watch me do this one. Stop writing. This is or, so this one's going to be a little different, isn't it? But before I can do not P, I have to do what? Before I can do not R, I have to do what? Then I can do what? Not P, and then I can do what? And then, after all that's done, I can do not P or not R. You guys see how that works? Well, you can have both of them true. One true, the other one what? False. First one false, second one true, and then both of them what? Not the prettiest table you ever seen in your life, but it'll work. Okay, not P. What would this be? What would this be?
True.
Okay. Not R.
False. True. False. True.
Okay. Now we're just this or that. False, false. This would be
False.
false, true. True. Why true? It's or. Only one of them have. Remember, we're just dealing with those two, right? Only one of them have to be true. What about this one? How about this one? All done. That's not too bad, is it? Let's do numbers 1 through 9, 11 through 16. (25 through 30). Trying to keep it under 20. You'd better do what? Write problems, draw figures, show all steps and work if I'm going to give you less.